they have caused some issues with regards to Xavier and I. Xavier was typically always behaving in a way of compliance to my demands, as long as they were reasonable and ethical. He has been a great partner and husband most of the time. 2 days ago, he began disappearing for unexplained amounts of time, not meeting me at the time he has agreed to meet me, and speaking with individuals who I don't know about things he will not communicate with me. If Xavier were willing or able to provide us with money for our bills, food, stability, and these behaviors were taking place, secrecy, etc., and so forth, there might be a more urgent need for me to accept that behavior, at the very least in the interim. But because Xavier is living with me, I have to assume that his secretive behaviors are for one of several reasons. Number one, either he's trying to protect me choked on a cookie, my bad. Number two, he's up to no good. And he knows I'll disapprove. Or number three, he's doing something that he wants to include me in on, something fun or exciting, but for some weird reason he cannot. Either way, it's been a very rough 7 days. I just drove to the south side of Chicago. '67th and Stony Island. I went to the bank, Chase, and I was not permitted to withdraw my funds. Not only that, but despite the fact that I know pain receptors are optional, they've given me a number of strategic headaches. If you know, you know. I don't believe in taking medicine most of the time, with one exception. You've tried everything else, and you're still not getting the results that are desired for your own situation, for your own body, etc. So, down the hatch. I don't have time for a migraine today. I have an entire car payment due. Excuse me. Xavier put me on to those. Not my ex-husband. My current husband. Xavier through no fault of his own yesterday began behaving in ways that were unacceptable. Referencing the on-the-line communication that was being received, he said, yes, I could answer their questions. And then after doing so, began to yell and call me names and scold me and make me feel really bad about myself, referring to me as an it or that. He's the one who's been cross-dressing, not me. So he's back in man clothes now for the last week. I've been wearing women's clothes my entire life because I'm a woman. Additionally, I've been attempting to reach my children, and that seems to be another repetitive issue. Intermittently. They have curated on a number of occasions at the discretion of the higher authority. This type of curation would no longer be permitted, which makes me believe that we've reached a regression in the evolutionary cycle so bad that the authority of this demographic believes that using the well-being of children or threat of there being an issue or a possibility that the well-being of children could be in question becomes an acceptable form of coercion and control. So I'm just going to ignore it. And if there's something wrong, then I guess it would be the fault of, the circumstances and the person's engaged, because I cannot continue to unnecessarily draw negative or positive attention to my children or family members. All that it does is make them uncomfortable. I love my children. I love my family members. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable or unsafe. Usually over the last 6 years, when they would make this implication that there could possibly be an issue with the safety of my children, they would then expect that I would call or go on to social media and cry and beg and do all of these things because I did those things. And subsequent to doing those things, I was referred to as crazy. I was told that there was nothing going on. I would call law enforcement of those jurisdictions. I would also call friends and family members, and they would say, you're overreacting. You need to calm down. Just because they haven't returned your call for a day doesn't mean that there's anything going on. I'm aware of OTL takeovers. I'm aware of hostile takeovers. I'm aware of the way they play demon and angel. I'm aware, okay? So if I am informing you that I have an inclination that there must be something the matter, then it's your job to, number one, find a solution. And number two, prevent the same problem from taking place again and again and again. My daughter and her boyfriend had to move to an undisclosed location because of all of the harassment the last round. And that man, from round to round, goes from good to evil, just like the rest of us. I've been on protection. As they reach threshold, their capacity to evil is much simpler. Much simpler. For me, I go through a very algorithmically detailed thought, consideration, weighing options, looking all around, feeling guilty. It's a very complex thing for me. For certain individuals from certain backgrounds with certain connections and habits that are more, let's call them with various breeds, right? Those people earlier in the evolutionary cycle will go to evil or violence much quicker, or will be more susceptible to a hostile takeover that they are victimized by, that causes them to behave in a way that is resentment driven. I don't have an understanding of that. I only have the on-the-line communication that comes through about 50-50 truth and 50 deception. However, some of the deception or truth might be misinterpreted. For the higher power, there is some sort of unspoken, communicated expectation of secrecy in various learnings and teachings of different information systems. I myself have deemed that this is for the purpose of slowing down evolution overall, and for the purpose of saving individuals who have behaved in ways that were against the algorithmic classification system profile with regards to ending up where they'd like to end up. And that in an effort to deceive the algorithmic classification profile, they are communicating with other individuals in an effort to maintain secrecy or classification of certain documents and knowledge and intellectual property, because then they believe there will be a larger demand at the top of classification or in the more desirable locations. There's a weird myth that says there's a limited supply of happiness and good vibes and nice homes and things of this nature. This demographic does not seem to understand that no one needs to suffer in order for everyone to be happy. No one. They, I believe, have some sort of probably ties to, extreme amounts of suffering and sadness, possibly in their cultural background, or embarrassment. They probably likely feel resentful that they're the only ones who have had to go through a certain thing. And there may be others who have gone through it, but they probably feel secretive with regards to discussing these issues. They likely are appearing to be hardworking, presenting to be an individual with above average levels of understanding and skill sets, presenting as very flexible, very go with the flow, very team player, but likely are not. They are likely in a space of deception, behaving in a way that's incredibly imbalanced with regards to the impact of others overall. These people might listen to very, very loud music with a very, very loud bass. They might take money from individuals who work legally for the money and use it for other things. They might be unwilling to conform to any sort of societal expectation as is presented, with no other clear route for behavior. So for instance, or they might be being driven. If you understand, then you know. And we have no way to tell at this level. I have no way to tell at this level, and I have no clear upline. And they removed me from my apartment in an effort to explain to me what types of perceived or inferred deceptive practice has been created by various individuals in an effort to cause framing or the unintended thought or perception that I could or would have been involved in something nefarious that's already been disproven by many other demographics and teams. They wanted me and still want me to remain innocent of understanding all of the things that I was framed for, so that in lines of questioning under extraction, I will be able to pass. However, they are slowly beginning to disclose these items to me and infer to them. So there's something going on for sure. And the South Side, it just looks pretty quiet. I'm pretty sure they might be locked. I don't really know. I don't know if they're still doing any of the things that they taught me they were doing. So for the higher power in this demographic, I don't know what stage of life we've gotten to at this point, and if you're still using individuals for these modeling exercises, and if so, when are you running these exercises, and what's the expectation during the time these exercises are being performed. Xavier is gone from the spot that we slept in, so that means that he's on his way downtown. He said to meet him between 5 and 7 at Bijan is what he asked me to do. First he said Hotel Felix, and then I said, no, not Hotel Felix, because I don't want to just be sitting in that area, waiting. I'd rather be at Bijan. So that's the plan. And if there could be some communication directly with regards to expectation from the higher authority within this demographic, that would be lovely. I have not received any communication today. I hope you guys are well. And if my children are watching, I love you so much. Please call me as soon as possible.